This is the first time ever we had our guest leave. It was like, fuck this, I'm out during the intro.
That's
like,
a record.
That's it. Didn't even make it through the intro. We're back. We're back.
We're back. Happy Friday, Sunday, to whatever fucking day you people listen to this. Welcome to Bass and Brews. We have the GOAT, the GOAT with us, Kristine Fischer. That's right. We actually got a real fishing name, not like Drunkwood, that piece of shit. Nothing like that. We got a real angler here, and she's real good too. Before we get to Kristine,
that's our second in a row too.
It is. I know, it's insane. It's like we're actually, almost 4 years into it. Somehow our special brand of BS is catching on. It's like that. It's like when you wipe with 5-ply and you keep getting dingleberries, but then you just start liking the dingleberries, so you stick with the 5-ply.
Interesting.
Because if everybody knows, last year was the Forever Feral year, and this year,
what time is it?
It's the season of persistence.
That's right. Bass and Brews is here. We are persistent. We have Kristine Fischer. We've been trying to get her on forever. She's told us, I hate to let this out, she actually legitimately told us to fuck off multiple times. Her words, not mine. But before we get to her, remember, if you want to support the show, you can head over to patreon.com/bassandbrews. That'll help us out. Lets us do fun trips like the one we're taking in April to North Carolina to meet Paul. It'll also give you access to Last Call with Alex and Paul, the Patreon exclusive live show we do once a month, where it's me, it's Paul, and it's you guys live in chat.
Paul and me.
I'm gonna tell you what, last month's was off the rails. We either talk about food or we talk about something in our lives. Last month got really intimate. If you want to know more about that, you got to sign up, or you can ask Fish Mama Chris, because she was around for a lot of that. Things got weird, but it was a good time. And I think that's all the...
Alex kicked me off at least twice, if not 3
dude,
times.
you got so weird. Sorry. Yeah, Kristine, he won't be that weird. He was really weird on that last call. But if you guys want to get real weird with us, go to patreon.com/bassandbrews, and you can get
Alex,
weird with us.
You missed last week's episode.
I did.
As usual.
Not as usual. Shut up.
And I did not forget to do the Patreon
good
stuff.
Good.
It was the delivery wasn't as good as yours, but I didn't forget. I'd also remember to say, hey, Bass and Brews, your weekly distraction from high quality podcast content.
That's right.
That's why we're here.
Oh, yeah. And then the other update was let us know who you guys want to see on the show next. You can get us on socials. And then you can also go to bassandbrews@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you, hear who you'd like to see on the show. If you guys are degenerates like us, you kind of know the level of guests that we like to have on the show. And, hit us up there.
Before we get to Kristine, I have to make an announcement. I have to make it. And this, I hate to start a podcast off on a somber note and be sad and upset. But I have to do this. I have to make this announcement. I'm not sure if I've recommended this to people on the podcast before, but I know I've recommended it to a lot of people through social media. I love Aldi. Aldi's wonderful. All right. They have one of the best non-frozen, fresh cook pizzas in the refrigerator section. When you walk into Aldi, it's on the left side right before the vegetables. And it was a meat lover's thin crust pizza, and it came in a box. It was shrink wrapped, but it was in a box. And today, Sarah and Audrey are out of town. They're in Orlando for a gymnastics competition. I was like, I don't feel like cooking. It's been a long day. I've been up since 3 a.m. Carter and I went to Aldi. I was going to get us some pizza, some breadsticks. He got a bunch of donuts and fruit by the foot shit. Anyway, I go to get this pizza. It's better than like Papa John's and shit like that. It's phenomenal. It's not there, but they have another meat pizza that's just shrink wrap. It's not even in the box, and it don't look right. But I got it anyway. I was like, well, this hurts my heart. I got it. I bring it home. I cook it. It's shit. I might as well been a fucking Tostinos.
Good.
So
maybe you should have a salad. Maybe you should have a salad, fat ass.
Everybody that I have recommended that pizza to, if it ain't in a box, thin crust meat lovers, skip it. And I'm very disappointed.
You should
Matter
skip
of fact, I have an email in my draft box to Aldi
You, Karen, you're literally gonna send an
about
email.
that damn pizza. The sauce sucks. The meat ain't shit. Anyway, I
You're
hate
the
to
worst.
do- I
You're
hate
the
to do it,
worst.
but look. It hurt me. It hurt me to the core. I mean, Alex has said some really mean shit about me on this podcast, but none of that has hurt me quite like Aldi getting rid of my pizza. But hey, look, outside of that, somberness over. We're happy. We have Kristine Fischer on the podcast tonight. If you don't know who she is,
Well,
tough
listen,
shit.
listen, both Paul and I have GOAT in our name if you're watching this on YouTube. And here's the reason why. Tourney X all-time history of Kristine Fischer, our guest. She's fished in 163 tournaments. She has clocked in 934 fish. Total length in her Tourney X career is 15,987.25 inches. That's pretty damn good. With 8 first places, 9 second places, and 8 third places. Doesn't seem as good compared to the 163. But you're still the GOAT, Kristine. Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
I
That's,
hope you say
that's quite the intro.
Uh,
I'm not sure I've ever had an intro quite like that, so I'll take it.
You're going to have a lot of those tonight on Bass and Brews.
No, I'm not surprised. Not
You
surprised
shouldn't be
at
at
all.
this point. You shouldn't be. Well, hey, Kristine, when we have a guest on for the first time, I like to ask a question because Alex can never put it together correctly. He's just not that articulate, even though he has
Spell it.
probably got one of the greatest voices in bass fishing
Oh,
podcasts.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
I mean, that's
It's
you know
really
that's
good. Real like milky. It's
Oh.
nice.
oh milky.
Thank you.
I've
Milky.
never heard of that one.
Yeah.
Is it
It is.
2% or whole?
Talk and tell me you don't think milky now that you know it.
I can't. That's all I can hear now, even when I hear myself.
Yeah.
Well, it
Sure.
wasn't for milk. It was from, growing up as a 10-year-old, starting off smoking Marlboro unfiltered
Yeah.
red packs. And then,
Performance
it's-
enhancing substances. It's just a lot of cowboy killers is what it's done.
Well,
All right,
Kristine,
Paul,
look,
say your dumb
we
thing.
like this. What is that, Alex?
Was me?
Kristine.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. Well, listen, I'm on my Mac. I'm not very tech savvy. I'm on my Mac, and you have iMessages on your Mac. How do you mute it?
I never figured out how to mute it, but
Yeah,
because of this podcast, I had to turn that shit off because it went boom, boom, and all that. You're good. This is Bass and Brews.
That was
We
me,
ain't
and I'm
worried
sorry.
about that shit. Hey, but look, here's what is the journey? What's the story that has brought you to where you are today?
God, how much time do we have?
Look, we have
Hour and a
recorded 3.5 hour episodes.
Oh,
We have as
yeah,
much time as you're willing to talk.
Yo, I mean, my goodness, I don't even know where to start with that. I guess I can start by saying this should sum it all up. When I told my sweet mom and dad, I've got the best parents in the entire world, best family. When I told them that I was going to sell everything I owned, all of my furniture, my bed, a bunch of extra clothes, like everything I owned, and rent out the home that I had just bought. I was like 27, bought my first home. I was going to rent it out and go on the road to try to fish full time. They just kind of looked at me and they're like, all right, well, sounds great.
Yeah.
So
That's empowerment from a parent right
Yeah.
there.
it is. I mean, that just tells you I have always led a very unorthodox lifestyle. Always. I've been a huge risk taker. I've kind of done things against the grain since inception, pretty much. And my parents are families. Yeah. I mean,
Conception.
No, not
Okay.
conception. No, conception is the minute that it never mind.
Exactly, but that's what I feel like that's what she's saying is from the moment of conception, I have been a rebel.
that I guess that it's even a little more intense. So yeah, we'll say conception. So since conception, I've been a little bit of a rebel in society, probably. But yeah, so I mean, it was just one of the next things for me. I don't really know what I expected, but I started competitive fishing back when I was 26, 27, while I was working at an archery shop, a customer brought in a flyer. And I was like, oh, there's a bass tournament, like Nebraska, right? Like, that wasn't really the scene back there, but I knew I loved fishing and I was very competitive. So I kind of signed up for that and ended up doing pretty well. Started fishing a lot of local stuff. The year after that, I qualified for my first, and I had experienced a lot of success because it's important on the local level, right? Back in Nebraska, man-made lakes.
I don't hate to interrupt, but we got to make sure people understand this was kayak fishing. You started kayak fishing. All right.
Yeah, I was 27. You don't come from a family with money. I think that's pretty foreign in the bass fishing world from my perspective anymore. I was not blessed with that background. So I was not able to, even if I wanted to get in a boat, there was no way. I was working 3 jobs. I was guiding. I was working at the archery shop. I was bartending. I was doing all kinds of things. I couldn't have afforded a boat if I wanted to back then. So yeah, we're talking, I bought an $800 kayak, and that was a little bit of a jump for me at the time. So yeah, but I qualified for my first big tournament down in Texas. And I went down there like, a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, but ready to prove some people wrong. And I got my ass kicked. It was so bad. I bawled. My grandma and grandpa came down to watch. I mean, I was crying. It was horrible. And I contemplated selling everything I owned. I'm a very spontaneous, like kind of, don't think things through all the time. Thank goodness we grow. But luckily that drive like back to Nebraska was like 13, 14 hours. And so I had a lot of time to kind of make up my mind and change my mind and remake up my mind. And I decided that, I knew I loved to fish. I love the outdoors. I've always loved the outdoors ever since I was a kid. And I thought, you know what? I really have this intuition that I can do this. It's going to be really hard, and I'm going to have to change kind of how I live my life. Meaning I started to look up all these kayak tournaments all over the country because I learned very quickly that Lake Fork was an eye-opener from a girl fishing a jig and pig in Nebraska and muddy water with, man-made jetties. And that's all we had.
What year was this, Kristine?
2015, I think.
Okay.
2015?
10 years ago.
Yeah, 10 years ago. Okay. 2015, 2016. Yeah, it's probably 10 years ago. So I started moving I taught Pilates a little bit too. I take all my clients. I moved my shifts around to where I could leave like on a Wednesday night, drive all the way through to Gunnersville, sleep in I had a Chevy Trailblazer at the time. So I'd load up my kayak on top of the roof, drive to a boat ramp, do a little bit of map study, sleep in my SUV, fish the tournament, drive all the way back through the night. God, there's no way I could do that anymore. But I did that all the time. At least twice a month, I would go to a new lake in the country. And I started doing that for years, just fishing everything. Getting experience in all these bodies of water. And I mean, when I'm talking fishing, like, man, I worked 5 a.m. till the sun went down and passed. I was always the first one on the water, always the last one off the water. I was asking a lot of questions. I was soaking up everything bass fishing that I possibly could. So yeah, I mean, the rest is kind of history.
All right. So you started this where you started kayak fishing and tournament fishing. Who got you into fishing? Where did you start, and what did you start fishing for?
So that's actually kind of a cool question because I have a kind of a unique answer. Of course, my dad and my grandpa. Well, we have a very, very heavy fishing oriented family. There's pictures of my grandpa. He looks like such an OG up there with a big old cigar hanging out of his mouth, with a bucket hat and a giant walleye, and a case of PBR on this little aluminum V-bottom boat floor. Yeah. I'm talking like it's in our blood. It's all we do. My grandpa still does to this day. But one of the things I remember the most is that my mom was fishing with us every single time. My mom loves to fish, still does. And she'd be up front. Now, we didn't bass fish. And my family, bass were kind of taboo because they ate the walleye. The walleye fry is what my parents and my grandparents thought for a long time. So they're competing because I'm from Nebraska. We fished up north a lot. So walleye is king. We fished a lot of family walleye tournaments. So it'd be like me and my dad and my mom and my brother would be teams. And we fished walleye tournaments. did a lot of pike fishing. That's all I want to do. I wasn't a huge fan of walleye because it was really boring for me, but I love to get up front of the boat and cast, those big daredevil spoons for hours and hours and hours for pike. So my brother and I both did that all the time. And that's all I can remember. But my whole family, my grandma would too. Now, my grandma will tell you, my mom actually loved to fish. My grandma will tell you, and it's hilarious when she talks about it. But she would say she doesn't like to fish because it wears her arms out when she's reeling them in. She liked to read her book on the boat. So she said that when grandpa wasn't looking, she'd get the worm off the hook and throw it in the leg so she wouldn't get bit. Like, oh, Linda, you haven't got bit for a while. And he'd look at it, he's like, your worm's gone. She's like, oh, that's terrible, Phil. And he'd put another one on and she'd take it off and throw it back in there.
And it's walleye. Y'all were probably keeping them to have a fish fry that weekend too, right?
Yes, we ate everything. Everything.
As you should. We should be eating more fish.
I ate a lot of smallmouth in my day. They're delicious.
Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that at the end.
Yeah,
no, we're not doing the snaps. We're not doing the snaps. Stop.
Fuck you. I will snap if I want to.
We're not doing the snaps.
Munchkin.
So I think it's really interesting that the way that you explained it, to just jump right into it, like you're beating him up locally, took the L when he went to a bigger pond, basically, right?
Big L.
Like, what was the thing that clicked? Was it just because it seems like all of a sudden you went like just full throttle into I'm gonna dominate this? Like, is that what it was? Was it? I mean, I hate to say, was it like the embarrassment of taking that loss, or like when you were just doing Nebraska, were you this obsessed with it, where you're making, changing kind of work schedules, all of that? Were you doing all that in Nebraska, or was it kind of losing at that big field, but seeing maybe what you could be that drew over you to kind of pursue it more?
I was definitely pretty obsessed with it in Nebraska, but not necessarily the competitive side of it. I was just so obsessed with getting out in the woods, and getting out in the water. I mean, even before I started fishing tournaments, the guys that I used to work with at the archery shop, they'll tell you to this day, they're like, oh yeah, Fisher, it'd be funny. She'd walk in to the shop at like 8 a.m., fully dressed in camo. She'd been out, hunting in that morning, or out on the ice fishing. And then she'd go out and sit in a deer stand as soon as the shift is over and do it over again. So I always just loved that. But I think taking that big L was pretty humbling for me, and I needed it. Right. We all, when we're in our 20s, we need to be served some humble pie. And I desperately did. And it was the best thing that happened to me, because it really lit a fire to, because we didn't ever see any women doing well. And I remember there was a lot of people that, back then I took it way more personally. But there were a lot of people that, didn't think that women really belonged competing, or that they weren't ever going to amount to anything. Which, that doesn't bother me at all now. But back then it kind of upset me a little bit. So sure. I think a little bit of that skepticism, or just wanting to prove everybody wrong, was kind of a motivating factor back then. And I really kind of gave probably too much time to it, at least for the first few years. Because I wasn't successful right away. I mean, it seems like I came out the gate was just winning tournaments all over, because my first big year, I think when I really gained a lot of momentum, I won 3 that year. And one of them was 2020. Yes, it was no, it wasn't 2020. It was 2018.
Okay.
I won the Pickwick Regional Championship. I won on Chickamauga, and I won on Kentucky, all Tennessee river fisheries, with all over 150 people in each of them. It was a huge year for me. Then I won that big championship, the biggest championship in 2021 or 2020. One of those 2 years.
Okay, I think that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, but I'd been fishing 2017, 2016, 15. So it's not like, and I got 3rd at that Kentucky Bass Open in 2017. And I had missed qualifying for the world's team by 1 spot, and it was devastating. And I remember that one because I had never ledge fished before until the year prior on Kentucky Lake. And I was bound and determined to get out there. I had read so many books and watched so many podcasts specifically on ledge fishing. And I remember getting out there in my kayak and just graphing ledges for hours and hours and hours. And I found a super unassuming little spot all by myself, just graphing for days. I found it on the very last day of practice, and there wasn't a single bass boat or a kayaker that found this spot. And it was so unassuming. Like it's one of those like sea spots you'd see on a map, you know, that you wouldn't, it doesn't stick out. It's not glaringly obvious. There are fish all over it. And I was so proud of just learning how to ledge fish, you know, kind of teaching myself how to do it, being a sponge around people that were really, really good at ledge fishing. And I got third, and that even motivated me even more. But a lot of people made a big deal about that because up until that point, I don't think a woman had ever cracked the top 20 in that tournament. You know, probably not even top 20, probably, you know, lower than that. So that was kind of a big deal. But then I went on to win that event the next year.
That's one thing. I've got some bass boat buddies of mine here locally in the Raleigh area, and a couple of them, well, one of them, I'll hop in a team tournament with him when we do, and we talk a lot.
Sorry, I just saw this Milky Man.
What happened? Oh, Milky Man. Yeah. Yep, he's the milkman. Ask his wife.
Oh, jeez. Hey, Wolf of Walmart, make sure I get a meme of me in a milk delivery man outfit for the memes of the show.
Yeah, with Amandy. Amandy's got to be in it too.
No, I want Paul's head on every little thing of milk in my delivery. So,
hey, what I was saying though, before Kristine rudely interrupted me. Anyway, but that's when you talk about you found this sneaky spot. And so him and I'll fish, and I was like, hey, man, let's go look at this spot. I caught some fish there, or I saw some fish there, and we'll go look. It's like, how'd you find this? I'm like, motherfucker, I'm in a kayak. I'm going like 4.5 miles an hour. The graph's always on. I'm always in that depth range of where I think they are. And sometimes you just find some shit that.
Sometimes it's dumb luck.
Yeah, well, it's dumb luck, but it's not dumb luck because if I'm going a mile, half a mile, 2 miles down the lake, I'm scanning. I might see something. I was like, holy shit, let me go scan over this and see what's in there. That's a great thing about kayak fishing is you're not running up the lake 70 miles an hour. And so when you're going from spot to spot, you should always be looking because you never know when you're going to find that one little stump or that rock pile or maybe that unassuming point that's not on the mapping stuff, the software that you used on the computer, but it shows up on your graph. That's the thing about kayak fishing that really does give you an advantage to finding some of that sneaky stuff is that you should always be scanning when you're moving from point to point.
That's absolutely true. Yeah.
So I think accomplishments, and they are great of your angling prowess. You have a lot of them, but also you have, as everybody knows, I don't do tournaments. I do the creation side. You also have quite a big kind of social media portfolio, right? A lot of sponsors. You've got a large following. You figured out kind of the secret sauce on that. What kind of made you move in that direction of like, well, let me try to get paid while I do this?
I'm a very calculated person, and I've always had kind of an entrepreneurial mindset. I've owned my own business for a long time, even kind of before the fishing thing. And I think the way I looked at it, like I said, I didn't have any financial backing ever from my family. I paid for my own college. I mean, my home, my cars, everything. I've always just been kind of a textbook hustler. Always working, donating plasma, paying rent with beer pong money. Man, I got good at everything that I could, so I could essentially take care of myself. And I knew that just from the little bit of research and talking with some of the people, I kind of figured out pretty quickly that if you are banking on your tournament earnings to make a living fishing, that's like that's a gambling attitude, and we all know what happens with people that gamble. They lose everything. Yeah. House always wins, right? And listen, even I've had a lot of tournament success, but even on my best year tournament fishing, I think I won like 62 grand one year. I still couldn't make a living off that, Well, I probably could because I'm a pretty low maintenance person, but you think about it, that's not really enough to make a good living. And that was my very best year. Now, did I start social media to I actually, with YouTube, I started that because back in 2017 or it was 2018 after I won that first tournament at Kentucky Lake, some random troll accused me of cheating in the Kentucky Lake tournament, saying that somebody caught my fish for me and gave them to me. Now, luckily for that Kentucky Lake tournament, I did run a GoPro the entire day. But I'd always just ran a GoPro just in case something cool happened. I have a little clip of it. So I posted all of that footage of every single catch, both days. And it really got to me. So I started kind of just using YouTube as insurance for myself, just to prove that. And I started talking to my audience and letting them know, hey, the clouds are coming out, so that I'm going to move to my B spot. I'm going to pick up this bait in this color. This is why. So people can kind of hear my thought process and see that I'm the one behind this. There's nobody that's sitting there holding my hand or, goodness, catching my fish for me.
Wait, that's a thing? I can do that? I can just hire somebody to catch fish for me and I can just slay at these tournaments?
Boy, wasn't that I wish I had the foresight back then just to know not to worry about that person. But I mean, ended up being good for me because it built up a YouTube that makes some money for me each month. But people that really know me know that I'm honestly, to my core, I'm pretty anti-social media for a lot of reasons. And
social media would say different.
I know. And I can't even, people ask me, oh, they talk about algorithms and CPR. I don't know what any of that means. I don't have a system. I don't have a method. I literally just post stuff that I want to. My musky stuff, people are always like, if you're a bass guy and you post saltwater stuff, it messes up with your algorithm and it shadow bans you or whatever. That's the same thing that happens to me with my musky stuff. Guess what? I'm still going to post musky stuff because I freaking love it.
Good.
I don't care. I don't care.
I'll say what's cool. You mentioned you talked to the audience. You're one of the first people I saw use that overhead shot and not a lot of chest cam. I despise chest cam. I love on a kayak that over the shoulder shot is like my favorite shot for a kayak. Because you get to see everything as the viewer. It's twofold because as the viewer, you get to see kind of the environment. You get to watch directly like what you're targeting. As the viewer, you can kind of think too, like before you make the cast, you can be like, oh, here's where I would cast. I wonder where she's going to cast. Like, the viewer's doing that really instantaneous, but it adds engagement. And then as the creator making, it is so much easier not to have this stupid GoPro strapped to you. It gets in the way when you hook set. Now you got all this footage of your thumb as you're reeling in a fish. I despise it. And I know it needs to be used sometime, and I'm not, shitting on people who use it. But when I saw your videos using the over the shoulder, I was like, yep, that's how it should be. It was like you and Greg Blanchard were the first ones that I saw doing it. And I was like, perfect. That's how I want to watch videos.
To be fair, Kristine, Alex didn't like the chesty shot because he's a really small man. And so it was like a 5-year-old trying to wear the chesty cam. It was just flopping all around and shit because he's too small to find one that.
Hey, I get it. You got a personal vendetta against the chesty. I'm with you on that. I don't like it either.
I hate it. I hate the chesty. It's not a fan. But so I like that overhead shot. I think it's one of the better shots. But with your videos, it's cool because the one part where the downside is audio. Right? So you got to either turn around or have an external mic. So that can be a pain in the butt, but you put in the work. It's great videos. It's good content. Everybody should watch it, obviously. But I think that's cool that you were calculated with it because I think it's awesome that you had the hindsight that, we get a lot of folks because we talk to a lot of tournament anglers who a lot of times I want to tell them you should probably stop. You're banking on winning 5 local derbies and all of a sudden you're going to be the next KVD. And that's not how that's going to work. And then they go with well, I don't want to do all that other stuff. I just want to fish. Well, that's cool. You can do that, but you're never going to do that.
So do I. I would love to fish.
Hey, do you do all of your editing or do you have somebody that's at some point doing your editing for you now?
I do everything.
Nice. Hell yeah. See, those are the ones you can tell. You can tell the creators that we have on where it's authentic. They're usually the ones doing the editing too.
And you're on the road.
so
You're on
much.
the road like half of the year too. So you're doing this shit on hot spots and
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere. That's
Literally.
crazy.
That's why when people, when people ask, if I've got any free time, and I look at my book and I'm just like, I have one day, July 15th from about 4 to 6. And then I've got maybe October 2 days. That's real. I mean, it is such and you guys will be the last podcast I do for the next at least 3 months. So
yes, well, that's because we're gonna ruin podcast for her in the next hour, where she's just never gonna do. Listen, Kristine, do you remember the Dark Waters podcast? Did you ever listen to that one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you know that we were the last podcast that had Josh on? We were the last podcast he ever did before he quit.
Why did he quit?
Well, he quit because he was on our
nobody
show
knows.
and he saw how good we were at this, and he was like, "Listen, I can never compete." Yeah, it was the other way. Instead of turning an L into the drive to be good at it, Josh came on this show and he's like, "This is the pinnacle of entertainment," and he just quit the whole deal. Yeah.
Crazy
That's
times.
awesome. Yeah, see, I feel very disconnected sometimes, even though it looks like I'm very kind of intertwined with the social media.
Mhm.
I really don't spend a lot of time on it, admittedly, because I'm a person it's really important for me to be very present when I'm doing. And again, there's a lot of things I don't like about social media.
Sure.
And I think that the worst thing for me is a lot of times people will look at one's social media and they'll almost attribute that to your status. Like there's people that will just treat me like I'm a level up because I have a large social media, and I'm like,
Right.
see who I am.
Right.
Not
Well,
just social media.
well,
I'm not
I want to transition to, because we once had somebody say this on the podcast. It should be easy because you're a female, right? This should be so easy for you. It should be the easiest thing in the world. No comment on that one.
The silence says it all.
I think so, and I agree with you. I think it's stupid when people say that.
But also, this
Well,
the thing.
it isn't though. I'm a realist, and I'm a very blunt, direct communicator. And I use logic and reasoning over anything else, over emotion, over personal feelings and something. I truly believe that in order to get, affiliations and sponsorships, if you're a woman, you have a much, much better chance in doing that. 100%. Without a doubt, especially right now, the last couple years. I mean, because for every woman that's trying to get a sponsorship, there's 1,000 men.
Oh, that reasoning. Gotcha.
Yeah, because we're a rarity. And as well as I do, the companies are so desperate for good female representation.
Right.
They're trying to appeal to women in fishing. So when I see women complaining about stuff, I'm like, yo, we have more opportunity. There's men the way I always tell gals, and I mentor a lot of young women, and do we have certain things that are more difficult for us? Absolutely. To be taken seriously. We're doubted a lot, and that sucks. But let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the fact that it is easier for us to be seen because there's fewer of us. And
That's
I
a good
mean,
point.
way easier. So I'm not going to sit here and play victim and say that my life is so daggum hard because I'm a female and it sucks, and guys think that my boyfriend backs my boat down, or whatever it may be. I don't have any ego or pride in this, so that's not going to hurt my feelings. I look in the fact that it's an opportunity, and then more so, look at all the guys out there. I tell the women, if you want this opportunity, can you give a seminar on breaking down your electronics? Can you do this, and this, just like the thousands of other men can do for this brand? So if you want these positions, can you, it's like one of those things. I believe that the best person should be hired for the job.
Right.
And I think sometimes that doesn't always apply in fishing because people want to have female representation. So I always love to see the women out there that are truly just passionate and genuine and do a great job, even if they're not the most knowledgeable, that do a good job of being authentic and genuine in their love for the sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's super important. I didn't even think about it. That there's not as many female anglers, so it would be kind of easier to be seen in a sea of dudes, right?
Yeah.
But I think more of that comment was like, "Hey, you're a chick. Dudes are gonna look at you more." Is kind of where
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if I,
I mean,
post a
it's-
picture holding the 5-pound bass and you post a picture holding the 7-pound bass, mine might be a little. I don't know. Your voice is milky, so if it's an audio, you might do better.
Ooh. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start doing audio only Instagram pictures, and I'm not gonna show a picture at all. It's just my voice saying things. Listen, if you guys head over to patreon.com/bassandbrews, I will leave you a voicemail with whatever you would like. Oh, we're gonna make that a new tier. We're gonna call it the Fisher tier. It's just where you get to hear the smooth sounds of Milky Man on your voicemail.
Yeah, I'm gonna request some tournament like prep, like some lifting up little
Yeah.
voice from you.
Perfect.
Some hype, some
Yeah.
milkman hype.
Yeah,
Some
motivate.
Milkman hype. I like that. Milkman hype.
Yep.
Listen,
You're welcome.
2025. It's the year of it's the season of persistence.
Kristine's gonna be at the ramp blasting Alex's whatever the hell he's saying. And everybody's like, what the hell is this? She's like, milkman hype, baby.
It's Milkman hype. Hey,
Okay.
everybody listening, that's copyrighted. I just did it. Don't fucking take it. Dirty fucking degenerates.
Oh, I'm already writing all this stuff down and starting y'all a tab.
Perfect.
Oh
Perfect.
shit. Look, you can't start a tab for us. We can't
Listen.
afford nothing that you're charging.
Fisher, I will sell you this company right now for 14 doll hairs. If you take over all of the financial responsibility of this multi-million-dollar product.
God, I think we can work. I can work our deal.
This
Listen,
is the first
I
year
don't know if you
Alex
know
had,
this
had
or
to
not.
pay for.
I did, we
Alex
did.
had to pay for all of it.
Yeah, that's true. 4 years running. And I don't know if you know this, but we actually own KBN as well. We bought them last year. So,
What?
yep.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because it's bullshit, obviously. No,
Why did you do that?
well, they did a April Fool's joke, and they started their show with our theme song. And you could watch the live chat go, oh, fuck, is this the wrong channel? And they go, hey, just to announce, KBN's been bought by Bass and Brews. So the running joke is we own KBN. The best was a lot of people kept putting in the chat, like, how did those dumbasses get the money to buy KBN? And these are people like I'd never engaged with, but I was like, oh, they know us. That's cute. I like it.
Honestly, it's a compliment.
Listen, I'd rather be infamous than famous.
There you go. I taught him that. I taught him that saying. He
I
couldn't
like
spell infamous.
I got it. INFAMOUS. Infamous.
Oh. Snaps for Alex. That GED. That GED came in
GED.
handy.
He's the worst. He makes fun of me because I have a GED. He's the worst.
Well,
Hey, you mentioned
Yeah.
some of the women anglers that you've mentored and stuff like that, and we've had quite a few on this podcast that through social media we've seen y'all interact. Tiffany, Texas Bass Babe,
Love
Cupcake
Tiffany.
Coley,
yep. Yep.
some of
yep.
those folks like that, and it's really cool to see that woman angler community come together and to be able to start sharing information with each other and to pump each other up.
It's
And-
so cool. Yeah. It's important. I mean, it's important because I think I speak for everybody when it's like, man, how in our lifetime, wouldn't it be amazing to see a woman qualify for the Bassmaster Classic through the Opens or qualify for the Elite Series Tour? I mean,
Yeah.
I would be one in front row, bawling my eyes out. And I hope
No,
to
it's
God,
gonna be you. It's gonna be
Oh,
you.
it ain't gonna be me. Shoot, my time. I want to be part of a very small part of a big movement to help inspire whoever's going to do it. But that probably ain't gonna be me, and that's okay. It doesn't need to be me. But I think it's really important to and Tiffany, like when Bass did away with the co-angler program,
She was.
he goes out and buys a boat. I'm getting goosebumps just talking. That right there is women cut from that cloth that have that grit and that tenacity and that go get them. Like, okay, they shut down the co-angler. All right, we're going to get a boat and jump on the front of the boat. That is incredible. And Tiff and I are actually fishing the Bill Lewis Rattle Trap tournament on Rayburn in a couple of
shit.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I'm stoked about that.
You should mention you were on the show. She's an OG. She was on the show in our very first year.
No,
And,
it was our second year. I think it
was
was
our second-
early.
no, it was first
It was
year.
when you were gone.
First
because
year?
one of our shotgun round questions.
Oh,
arose
yeah,
from that
second year.
interview.
Well, it's important
Yeah,
all
it's
of
the
that because if
second
you guys don't band together, you know who's going to band together?
Who are the young college girls going to sleep with?
That gross guy is the one who's going to bring everybody to go look at her face.
Wow. What's
Again,
behind one?
Yeah, listen, if you guys don't watch this on YouTube, you've never seen that meme. Make sure to go follow us on YouTube.
Look, just go 40 minutes and 30 seconds in. When we play that meme, everybody should have the opportunity to go see why us and the guests
listen,
laugh and have
I didn't
have a
know
good
if I was going to play that. My wife, Amanda, goes, "You're not going to play that stupid pina colada clip, are you?" And I was like, "I don't know. Should I?" And she goes, "How well do you know her?" I'm like, "Not at all." And she's like, serious into like the bass world. I'm like, "Yeah." And she goes, "That might not be a good move." So I was like, "Man, do I hold back?" Nope. Not only do I play it once, I play it twice.
Who are the young college girls going to sleep with?
You know, that dude is peak
That's Drunkwood in
Bassam
20 years.
That's Drunkwood in a year.
I thought that was Drunkwood.
See, there we go. Hey, speaking of
I
being
heard
on,
about that.
what'd you say?
I'm gonna have nightmares about that tonight. That should have came with a disclaimer, but that's fine.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
No,
that's
no
a real
disclaimers
surprise one.
on Bass and Brews. Hey, speaking of being on the front of the boat, I started kayak. I've been fishing my whole life, but I started like wanting to get into tournament kayak fishing late 2020. First tournament was February or whatever 2021, and I did what people with ADHD do. I went on YouTube and I immersed myself into kayak fishing. You popped up. You're real small at the time. I don't 30,000 or less maybe at that point in time on YouTube. So small, but still kayak fishing. Come up, you're doing tournaments. And I saw you standing on the front of a Hobie Pro Angler. And I was like, I'm trying to figure out. I had a buddy that I met at the ramp who fished boats and kayaks, and he had a rigged out PA-10. And when I wanted to get into kayak fishing, because I was in some cheap ass bullshit, I wanted to get a Hobie. And I was doing all this research, and I see you standing on the front of it, and I see all these. I was like, that's what I want. In my first year of kayak fishing, I remember you used to put your kayak in the water and then like run and kind of jump on the front and push off to go.
Yeah.
I probably got a good 130 pounds on you, maybe. Like I'm
More.
I'm
Definitely
not fat.
more.
I'm
Yes,
not
you are.
fat,
He's
but
so
I'm
fat.
a big boy.
Oh.
I'm 6'1". I'm hefty.
Oh, you're
I'm
6'1"?
6'1".
I
He's
thought
a
you.
big fat guy.
Never mind.
Yeah, he's a big fat guy.
But Kristine, we have met in person. We ate
remember.
pizza together
I know
at
that. And
Santee.
why did I think you were like 5'5"?
I was sitting. That's Alex. Alex is 5'5".
I thought
I'm not
you were,
5'5".
you actually might have that because I was like, I'm pretty tall. A lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like 6 foot tall.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I was about to say. I mean, I was,
It's taller than
I was
me.
like, damn, I shouldn't have wore sandals standing around Kristine. I feel a little short almost. But one of my earliest videos that I posted, I did that off the ramp, trying to jump in, and thank God it was like there wasn't a lot of water between the bottom of the lake. Because if that shit hadn't have caught, I would have damn sure been swimming if I'd have tried it off the dock. But I was amazed at you standing on the front of your kayak, and like when I got a PA-12 or PA-14. When I got that, I was like, how in the fuck does she do this? Because there ain't no. If I did that shit, it would look like the Titanic sinking.
Yo, Amanda was like, well, who's this lady you're having on? I'm like, all right, you want to see her viral clip? And it's got to be you standing on the front of that fucking Hobie, right?
Casting.
Like that's
in casting,
yeah.
like nothing's going on, just fucking slanging.
So I showed her that clip, and she goes, "How do you pay Paul to try to recreate that when you guys meet?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You put his big fat ass on the front of it, and it'll look like the Titanic going down."
Hey, Kristine, we keep referencing us meeting for the meeting. Alex and I have never met in person.
Never.
Ever.
4 years doing the show.
4 years, almost 4 years. Yep. April 11th. It changes. It all changes.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
so
all
we're gonna
changes.
have Paul in memory of you being on the show. He's gonna try to recreate that very viral scene of you casting majestically as you're like a what's the right word? Like a trout slaying ballerina on the front of your Hobie. We're gonna have Paul. We'll have him dress up exactly the same, and we'll try to do like shot for shot. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey, I've worn a bikini on this podcast.
So you got
Oh,
little booty shorts and a little tank top, and
I don't know.
dude,
if
we
you
can
heard
go
me.
viral. We can go viral, Paul.
I don't know.
This
if you
is what
heard
we
me, but
needed.
I have worn a
I don't get
bikini.
dressed like that.
I wore an American flag bikini on this show.
Yep. And the U.S. government instantly contacted us and told us,
I was
please
gonna
quit
say,
disrespecting the flag.
How long did that stay up live before it was banned quickly?
No, it
I
was
don't
not
wear
banned.
a podcast.
Yeah.
Really?
No, that was a live show. Remember, Paul? It was the end of the
It
year
was the end of the
kegger.
year kegger in 2023.
Christine, he
Good
had to throw it
times.
away because it got up the back of his britches, and it was
Bullshit.
a little.
That's
No.
Yeah, that's like what's it in the Lion King when Mufasa's like, you see that dark place there, Simba? It's probably
Wait,
like
Fuck
did
you,
Kristine
Christine. What the
Fisher
hell's
just
this
make
shit
a
about?
shitty underwear joke about Paul? I love it.
well,
I
that's
love
the
it.
first thing that came to mind. It's like, ooh, never shall go there.
Look, when
Never.
You get to be
It was
when you're
gross.
a man above the age of 40, your butthole's like you got a Sharpie in there. It just
Yeah.
never quits. Never
Yeah.
quits. It's like the never-ending Sharpie.
All right. We talked about it a little in the green room. All
Oh,
right.
our hats. Look.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to
Christine-
talk about that, but yes, you guys have the same hats. I was
Shut
going to
up.
say.
We're going to talk about the hats real quick, though. Christine showed up with her bass hat.
Well, it's a carp.
It's a carp
It's a
dipshit.
carp.
Yeah, that's a carp. See the lips? Hold on, right there. See the lips?
Christine, I'm colorblind. I can't see that shit. It looked like a bass from here. Mine's a bass. You see them lips?
Yeah, my lips are a little bit more pronounced.
It's-
Oh,
What were you trying to say? Do I need to put lipstick or something on? The
You
hell's
should
going
put-
on here?
no.
Nope. This is now the clip. It's going to be called "How to
Don't-
Get Famous with Christine Fisher."
No.
It's going to be
I just
getting
realized
dressed. Yep, it's going to be Paul getting dressed, and he's going to be like Christine said, "I got to look good for the crowd." And he's going to squeeze into a bikini, put the lipstick on with the the song from what was that? Silence of the Lambs. He's just going to be slathering it on, and he's going to try to do that casting motion at the front of the kayak.
Please tag me in that video, and I would like to also claim some royalties on that video.
Oh my
What
God.
happens-
Royalties, Christine. We ain't making no money on social media on Bass
We
and
might.
Bruce.
Here's the thing, Paul. What happens if we shoot the beginning of it like super serious, and we call the video "How to Fish Like Kristine Fisher," right? And we
Christine
treat it
taught us how to fish.
right, and we treat it all serious. We got like a drone shot of like you rigging up, and we'll drop some like clips of you on the show with like tips about legs fishing, all of that, and then he just cuts to Paul in a bikini slathering on lipstick, and that's the bulk of the video. So we trap everybody in those first couple minutes of like, oh, this is good facts. Yes.
Yeah.
What?
I love it.
Done. And I'll narrate the whole thing with my milky voice the whole time, sounding like what's his name? Freeman, sounding like Morgan Freeman.
Yep. I'm just playing this out in my head, and it's working, which is crazy to say, but it's working.
That's the move, Paul. Write it down.
I got notes right here.
Yeah, what's on those notes? I bet you it's just a picture of a bucket of chicken.
It has got a bunch of stuff that has nothing to do with the podcast because I don't take notes.
Perfect. All right, we're at a silly time in the show. It's been a hot minute since we've
Hold
done
on.
this.
You said you had a question before I.
Yeah, I'm going to do it
rudely
after this.
interrupted you.
Hey, Christine, you ever heard of the childhood game Marry, Fuck, Kill?
Yes.
Okay. If people don't know, I'm going to give her 3 subjects. She's going to decide whether to marry one, unalive one, or fornicate with one. And your
I'm glad
options
you
are
Second round of them up. That was
Yeah.
nice. Thank you.
We love
your
the word
options are
fornicate. I told Alex that word.
Bigfoot, aliens, and the Loch Ness Monster. And listen, I can see you thinking, and you might need some visuals, so let me help you out. So it's your options are Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, or aliens. So those are your options. Kristine's like, this is a fucking podcast.
Gosh.
You
Was
want to see
that-
him again?
No, I don't. I'm getting that. No. Was that Paul's face on all of them?
Yeah. Yep. That
that-
one.
By choosing which version of Paul I would fornicate with, that's almost an admission that I would do that.
You know what? You're
Nobody's
hilarious,
ever put
actually.
it like
That's
that.
the
but
first thing that somebody should bring up.
Yeah.
Look,
Well,
nobody. They just answered a question. They just.
What do you
they
got?
just
Yeah.
Roll with.
All right. So
comes
what?
first.
So
when
what
I
are you doing?
feel like I do things a little against the grain, and I think kind of outside the box. Like that's the first thing
Yeah.
I'm thinking. That was Paul's face in every single one of those subjects.
We just lure people in. Yeah, we lure people in to say they want to fornicate with Paul. We've been doing this for 4 years just for that reason.
Or they want to kill me.
That's everybody.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah. Okay. So let's just take Paul out of the picture so I can focus. We've got. Oh, gosh. Oh. Marry, fornicate, unalive. Give me cake. Run through them one more time. Let me just marry, fornicate, unalive.
Yep.
Yep.
Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, aliens.
Aliens. Pretend I don't exist. If I wasn't pictured on them, you got to choose them.
Well, okay. So we're gonna choose. I'm gonna definitely unalive the Bigfoot.
Oh.
Because- Not like normally before you showed me that image,
Yeah.
I would probably marry, but that image in particular, I
Yeah.
feel is a special case, and that one needs to that needs to be buried 6 foot deep is not enough for that. Like that is not okay. So we're definitely unaliving that one. It's out. It burned out of my mind. And I'm gonna go ahead and say, oh gosh, that's terrible.
She's got a boat.
I hate that. Oh,
Don't show that one again. Let her answer, and then we'll tell her a story behind that one.
okay, so I'm going to probably fornicate with the alien because I would be assuming that'd be an out of universe experience, and
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there you go. I like that one.
I would
Mary?
marry the Loch Ness, and I think that'd be mutually beneficial because I'm infatuated. Oh,
She stopped and infatuated. She stopped at fat,
All right,
Paul.
quit
just so you're
showing the
clear.
pictures. You keep interrupting her very rudely, and that would be a merman. That's not even a Loch Ness.
okay, I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. I'm in my mind. I'm thinking the Loch Ness, and I feel like we'd have some very intellectual conversations about fish behavior.
Oh,
That
Yeah.
very insightful, and probably that would be an advantageous power move for me for my business.
What
So-
happens if that's the next thing they ban? It's not live scope. It's marrying
Marrying
Loch Ness. Yeah, they're like, there's too much. Kristine's getting too much insider info. She's got to stop with Loch Ness.
Boy, we live in a world where there's a lot of wild things going on right now. That wouldn't totally shock me. Jaw would be still right where it's at.
Rus
They-
Snyders didn't just say it like out loud. He kind of alluded to that you might have some insider information, and it might be due to mermen. So
Hold on. Which one did Russ choose?
Oh, jeez. I don't even remember. That was
I
too
think
long.
no. He said,
South Park
No.
gay fish joke.
"What's that?"
Did you remember the South Park Kanye West gay fish episode? Did Russ say he'd marry the Loch Ness?
I believe he did say he was going to marry the Loch Ness also.
I totally believe that. Okay.
Yeah. But he did say that he was going to fornicate with Bigfoot and then kill the aliens.
Well, I can see the strategy there too, but did you show him the same picture?
Yeah,
Oh,
But
yeah.
Everybody
yeah.
gets the
Everybody
same picture.
sees
This
it.
is only 3. There's only 3.
Yep.
The 4th one that he threw up. So, that's when
That's
my
Paul.
wife's washing her hair in the shower and she opens her eyes. That's what she sees.
Kristine was like, all right, I'm going to go on this podcast. I'm going to help these guys out. They're probably brand new, just starting out. It'll be the Cut and Dry podcast. And she's like, 4 years and they're this small? Now I know why. Holy shit.
Well, I'm still recovering from the images and having to process. Ugh.
Listen, this
Okay,
is going to be
quit
in your
showing 'em.
inbox.
I've seen
Who
it.
was it? It was Andrew from Tackle Talk was on the show, and he was giggling so much with
Yeah.
the window picture.
Yeah,
So
I don't even want to ask where you got that.
it's from
Our Wolf of Walmart. It's our
no,
buddy.
not this one. Well, he
No, not
Screen-
that one, but the other ones.
Yeah. The other ones, Wolf of Walmart does memes
No, I'm
for
talking
us.
about behind the glass.
Yeah, that's
That's-
from the movie Suicide Squad. With
Okay.
it's like a superhero movie, but they're villains, and this guy was called the Weasel.
That's original for sure.
Hey, speaking of the weasel, and we alluded to it a little bit earlier.
What a transition!
You now have a bona fide glitter rocket bass boat. You're fishing out the bass boat and the kayak.
Where was the correlation with the weasel there?
You know what, Kristine? Sometimes
He's
you
getting
have to
bullied.
segue. You have to make a segue that makes no sense
Okay,
for it
I
to
respect
make sense in the end.
I love that for you. I respect it.
Thank you. I'm very good at that. I'm not good at many things, but taking the conversation from absolute shit show to
Oh.
something that matters, I'm good at that.
I remembered.
About our questions, and now I'm kind of. I think I made the right choice with the alien. Yeah, I'm still. It's still in my mind. I'm
Well, what's funny is you mentioned earlier you're very logical. You're
Yeah.
very so that was like a deep, and I have a feeling you're gonna be up till like 1 a.m. and be like, why did I kill Bigfoot? Why did I do that? Yeah.
Oh, no. That's one thing that I am very sound on that decision and will not go back.
Really?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay.
Is that because maybe you had a Bigfoot encounter in Nebraska when you were growing up?
No, it has 100% to do with that image that you guys showed me.
Oh, well, goddamn! Thanks for making me feel like shit, Kristine.
That was the
Golly.
perfect delivery of like, no, I used to love Bigfoot until I
No, I
saw
did.
Paul's face.
My mom's actually infatuated with Bigfoot. And when we fished a tournament at Caddo, did you see that picture of that Bigfoot painting that I got? Like there's the infamous Bigfoot artist
Mhm.
recognized from my YouTube at some crappy little dive bar on Caddo Lake, East Texas. And he's like, "You're Kristine Fischer." I was like, "Yes, I am." He's like, "I bet you don't know who I am." And I was like, "I bet you're right." He's like, "I do this." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're freaking, this is awesome, dude." And he gave me a Bigfoot painting.
Oh,
No
shit.
joke. Bigfoot and
Alex.
cypress trees.
We need to get Kristine's mailing address.
Yeah.
And print that out.
No.
Put it in a frame.
Yep.
So she can give it to her mama.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, listen, if your mom loves Bigfoot, we also had an episode with a Bigfoot expert on
We
this
did.
show. We did. This
Mhm.
guy's full-time job is to research. Now, I don't know if it's family friendly. Paul did ask what Bigfoot style was. That was a little lowbrow, Paul.
Oh,
It's a
no.
little lowbrow. But it was a good episode.
But
I believe it.
you and Kristine have taken this podcast off the rails, and I'm trying to bring it back on. The train
All right.
is teeter-tottering on the rails.
I'll
I'm
bring
just
it
trying
back
to
on.
steer it to get it back on track.
I'll
so we
steer it
don't
right.
have-
I got
Okay.
you. Here we
Okay.
go. Kristine, what's your weirdest pooping story on the water?
Oh man. Well, let's see. I've got one, and I've actually never told this, and I haven't told. I hope he's not. I hope he's not listening.
Probably not.
Who?
Jackson
tell you.
Orr. He's like a
No,
little.
he ain't listening. He's been on when we did.
You know Jackson. He's very.
Yeah,
He's sweet and just. Can you imagine Jackson like 60 years ago? Even sweeter, even more naive, even more just of a perfect, just like
Like
you know,
17 then.
Yeah, right. Yep, exactly. So let's go into that setting. It's on the Coosa River tournament, like 5:30 in the morning. We get a half an hour to get out there to our spot. Well, I'm the only person at the boat ramp. I get out there. It's kind of dark, it's because first light is when we start casting. So I'm out there and I've had like 7 cups of coffee. Y'all know what happens when that goes down. So I'm out there just kind of, there's like it's up in the river section. So I'm in this tiny little creek that kind of goes like this. And there's like some hyacinth mats. And I'm sitting in front of a hyacinth mat, do my business. And it's a floater, which is because it's just me. Well, all of a sudden I see this light and hear this pedaling. And I look and I'm like, Jackson? And it's like, hey sis. I'm like, oh, how's it going? So I'm here. He pulls up maybe 50 yards down. Where's my hand? Here. And I'm like, okay, I can see what's going on here. I'm like, it's fine. We need to hurry up and get this first cast going. We have like 10 minutes left. And there's a little bit of current. And I see it. It's like the Jaws theme was in the back of my head. And it's like creeping closer to this innocent. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And because it's glass. There's no chop or anything. There's a little tiny bit of current pushing things down the river. And it's like sitting there and it's infamy. And I don't know if he ever saw it. Like part of me wants to ask him. Also, he holds me as such high regard and looks at me like a big sister. So I'm like, but that kind of stuff.
You should ask him.
Yeah, I might. Honestly, none of the guys that I stay with and travel with, they wouldn't be surprised.
That's the second best poop story. The first was when Greg Blanchard shit at the ramp at a tournament one morning, and I can't remember who it was. One of the guys he was fishing with stepped in it, and he got in his truck he got this truck with Dookie on his foot and was rubbing it. Is like, man, God, what the fuck is that smell? He had dragged his shit into his truck. It's because Greg had just shit right there on the ramp. Because it was kind of the same thing, right? He was the first one there. Nobody was there. He eating pizza and drank a bunch of Sierra Nevada that night. And so he just went and
didn't the Turner brothers throw feces at each other like a bunch of fucking animals?
Oh, I don't know. Did they?
You guys have never had Cody Milton on, have you? Because his poop story would
bless you, child.
Wholeheartedly take the cake in every single situation.
Make it happen, Kristine.
We gotta make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen. We need a whole poop series. It's going to be called Fisher's Floaters. Will be the whole name of the segment. We'll do a little theme song, and it's just you going, I did my business in the hyacinth. And then it'll cut to Fisher's Floaters. And it'll be a little turd that goes across the stream. And then the angler has to tell us about their best poop story.
Yeah.
Dude, we're cranking out $1 million ideas tonight.
I know. It's been a long time since we had this many ideas come up in one episode. But speaking of that, back to the point I was trying to make before Alex wanted to talk about Dukes, is you have a bass boat now.
I do.
I think you did a tournament last weekend before.
Last week, yep.
What is your goal right now? What are you doing with that? What do you want to do? Are you just trying to test the waters? You want to get in a boat to just have a whole different fishing experience, or is it something that, let's see where it goes the next couple years, and maybe I'm in the classic, or maybe I make the elites. What's the goal here?
5 years ago, my goal would have been that classic elites, very kind of individual driven, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. My big, would that be an awesome thing to happen? Yes. But my main goal, I want, like I said, I want to encourage more women to get into it. I want to see a gal, high school women fish in college, and those college women fish the opens. I want to see more women competing at that level, because that's where my heart beats for, is competitive side of bass fishing. I love it. And I figured, a lot of the gals that I talk to, the intimidation is the biggest hindrance, I think, for women for doing that. So I figured, okay, I didn't grow up in a bass boat at all. I grew up in a walleye boat, but I still don't have any boating experience. I am at a point in my life where it's like I'm not 19, 20 anymore, but I want to show these women that if I leave something that I'm very, very comfortable at and pretty good at, like I've about accomplished everything I can in kayak world, right? And jump into something where I'm going to get my teeth kicked in. It's going to be extremely intimidating, and I'm going to have a lot of things probably go wrong. If I can be very transparent about that and show them that even if I get my butt kicked over and over and over again in the open, it's okay. It's okay. I'm going to get back up, keep a smile on my face, and know that we can make an influence regardless of what the leaderboard says and be a really positive light in that space. So that's my kind of goal. I love the kayak world. I'm still going to fish kayak tournaments, but it kind of got to a point where I don't want to say I wasn't being challenged because that's all in myself, but I wanted something to really light that fire again and to motivate me. And nothing lights that fire like jumping into the opens with these. I swear it's the most competitive trail right now in all of professional fishing. And they're so dang good and they're so hungry. And it seems like all these kids do is bass fish 24/7, right? And it's incredible. It's very inspiring. So I figured if I jumped in there and started fishing them, maybe it might inspire other women to do the same.
I dig it. That's awesome.
Yeah. The challenging, you said you weren't necessarily not challenged in kayak fishing, but fishing in general is challenging. Every day is different. You can have a 2 or 3 day tournament and every day is different. So every day is challenging, but this presents you with an opportunity to challenge yourself and to try to learn something new. And it's just that drive. You mentioned it earlier about how you just talked to people and you were a sponge and you soaked up so much information. Now this is kind of like going back to 2017 again. Exactly. Now you're doing the exact same thing. You're soaking up information. You're talking to people. You're learning new skills. All that stuff. That's the competitive people who are really good are always trying to challenge themselves in a different way. And I would say being in a kayak helps you in a boat, and then being in a boat can help you in the kayak.
Exactly.
And so you're just expanding that knowledge, that fishing knowledge, and it gives you some energy to maybe not kind of just feel like you're in a lull going through the motions.
Exactly. That's funny you say that because that's honestly getting the boat and fishing my first boat tournament. It took me right back to 2016.
Where you got your ass beat out in Texas. Yeah.
Exactly. To down to the very, how I felt, the anticipation, kind of the nerves. I haven't been nervous for a tournament in 4 or 5 years.
Well, listen, when you're whooping Rus Snyders' ass consistently, there's nothing to be nervous or challenged about at all.
He's going to text me and start hate texting me now.
He ain't listening to this podcast either. I mean, unless he's making decks. If he's building decks, maybe
he told me he listens to deck-oriented podcasts. So it's just podcast about decks, decking material. That's kind of his jam. They're about 4.5 hours. He sent one to me. I fell asleep instantly. They're really boring.
We actually showed some of Russ's deck picks. During
this
episode.
His what?
His deck picks.
Oh, okay.
Simple change the letter could be real different on that one.
I misinterpreted that.
You got to listen harder. It might be my accent. I don't know. But Alex
that's
went
cool.
and found some of his decks he'd built.
He's got a good deck. It looks pretty sturdy.
He's fantastic at that. Sure. Russ is super, super talented. So very handy.
But not as talented as fishing as you. As you said, we can quote you saying that.
That's the first post for this episode is exactly that Kristine Fischer quote.
Quote.
I am superior to Rus Snyders in all fishing capacity.
There we go.
Boom.
Yes, and now we have audio to go with it.
Listen, there's definitely, I can name several guys right now that I just look up to in our kayak fishing space, and I know I'm not as good as them. I know it, but I get to beat them every now and then, and it feels pretty good. But now Russ is an undisputed. You can't even. He is the absolute best. I mean, I was with Matt Aries' podcast last night, and he's like, "You've had the 163 tournaments. You've had like 65 top 10s. That's insane." Russ has had 160 tournaments and has 95 top 10s.
Yeah.
95.
When he was on the show, I was like, hold on, let me look up some of your stats. And man, I can tell you the Hobie BOS trail shut down because everybody got tired of seeing Russ's stupid face in the winners pictures. Because we counted him, he was in like 8 out of 10 photos was him smiling, and we were like, that's why Hobie BOS went down.
Yeah. Between him and Ewing, they were pretty regular repeat offenders on that.
Yeah.
Hey, and did I say this earlier? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I did. I referenced that you were on. Matt was on our podcast, and you were on his podcast. Okay.
Yep.
Let's just making sure. Look, we get to going in this. My mind's off in a million different places. Speaking of that, I shouted out Tiffany and Cupcake Coley, who had been on the podcast that you're friends with, and I will be remiss if I do not say Edie.
Edie, yes, Wilkinson. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So
Great.
Edie's been on the podcast too. And matter of fact, I met Edie in person at which one was it? Knoxville, the Knoxville Bassmasters Classic. She was there, and I got to meet Edie in person after she'd been on the podcast. It was great.
That's very cool. Yeah. Are you going to the Classic in Fort Worth?
No, I won't be at that one. I'm hoping it's back in Knoxville next year, I think, right? Didn't they announce this in Knoxville?
Yes, yeah.
I'm hoping to go to that one. Funny story. I grew up here in the Carolinas, never been to a Bassmaster Classic. They had it in Knoxville, and I wanted to take my son. And so that was the first one we went to. And so this was after I came on Bass and Brews, and we had a ton of people on that were going to be there. Bailey and Rudd and Jimmy Washam and just a bunch of people that I connected.
Name dropper.
Podcasting. Look, it's amazing you hadn't said Alex Rudd's name in like 6 weeks. So don't even start with me.
And you
I
guys
love Alex Rudd.
I took him.
What's that?
To that.
Ten boys of Alex.
Yeah. Just me. I like to be called Little Alex. It's
Little
awesome. That's why I
Alex,
grew the
yep.
beard.
When when Rudd's on here, we have Big Alex and Little Alex. That's how it goes. But yeah, I took him. That was that first night that we were there where they had the tornadoes come through, and my son and I were camping in a tent at a campground.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and goes, "Daddy, is the tent going to fly away?" I said, "Son, with me in here, I hope not." But yeah, that's the cool thing about, and this will lead back to when we met. That's a really cool thing about this podcast and about the fishing is the amount of people that I've got to meet in person, because the only time I do a national tournament is if it was at Murray or Norman or Santee. And that's, I was sitting there talking to, I'm having a damn brain fart right now. Our redheaded buddy from Tennessee, Alex, who the hell was it? Having a brain fart. I've been thinking about his name all,
Redhead.
From your boy that was in the punk
Lambert?
bands. No. I mean, I did meet him, but
In a punk band?
yeah, it was God. Why the fuck am I?
Madison?
No.
No shit. God, now I got to look this shit
Adam?
up. Yeah, Adam Riser.
Roger.
Yes.
Yeah. So I
I
just
buddies.
I just sat down beside him and started talking to him. And I was like, "Hey, I'm Paul. He said, I'm Adam Riser." I was like, "God, yeah, fuck, I know who you are." And so then y'all came and sat down. But that's the cool thing about. I'll say this: I never done anything in the opens, but in the kayak fishing world, you can go sit down and eat a slice of pizza at a table, or whatever at a captain meetings on bleachers, and you can talk to these people. And the majority of the anglers that I've met are in the kayak world. They're forthcoming. They share information. They want to talk to you. They want to meet you. sure, there's some shit that goes on in there, but in general, all the people I've ever been around, like, been just really good folks to talk to and to to have a good time with, and that's the only reason I go in these tournaments. If I have a good day, maybe I can win. But in general, all I want to do is go out and meet folks that
He's a schmoozer. He's a schmoozer.
we've had on the podcast, or meet folks that have been around, and everybody's always been welcoming to that in-person meeting.
Yeah, until they actually get to know you, and then it's a lot of like blocked calls.
Well, it's really good until you start showing those stupid ass pictures, and then shit goes downhill from here. Like
Agreed.
Christine's like, she wanted to kill me. See, she killed that.
Obliterated.
We haven't done that clip or that segment in a while,
We haven't. I have forgotten about
yeah.
it. I should have done that with Matt. That might have been a good one with
good.
Matt. I'm not sure.
Yo, it's I still can't. That's I didn't know if I was gonna do that segment, but we did. All right, so what's coming up next for you? You're doing the boat deals, relighting your fire. What's the plan for 2025, Kristine?
Well, I'm fishing 2 more Bassmaster Kayak events. I'll fish Toledo and 10 Killer, maybe Dale Hollow, maybe. I'm fishing Division 1 of the Opens. So I've got Tom Bigby, Upper Chesapeake, and the St. Lawrence River. All fisheries that I have pretty much zero experience on, so it'll be great. And I'm fishing, a bunch of smaller boat tournaments too. As many, for me, like I'm going to fish as many smaller boat tournaments as I can to keep getting comfortable. Fishing some Texas Bass Nation kayak events, some Tennessee Bass Nation kayak events. Might fish a couple of Drews, the KAS thing. I'll fish one of those on the Susky because nobody wanted to put a national tournament on the Susky this year, unfortunately. And that's one I always kind of count on getting a paycheck from that one. So I was a little bummed about that.
Hey, well, Mr. Jake Harshman. So you can just go
unfortunately,
take your
I
night
agree.
and follow him around during practice, and then tournament day, just put a little knife jug into his floatable kayak.
I don't need to do that. I beat Jake on the Susky every year.
Oh shit, Jake Harshman, did you hear that?
I hope so.
Bitch.
Alex,
and I can prove it.
Clip it. Clip that
Don't tell
shit.
me what to do. Tell me
The
what to do.
Suskies.
He's one of my favorite people to go back and forth with in the DMs.
Well,
Well,
next
if
time
there's
you talk to
anybody
him,
to go
ask
back and-
him. Next time you talk to him, ask him about Josie.
Yeah, Josie. Just say, hey, Jake, look, all you got to do, say, Jake, tell me about Josie.
He'll know.
He'll know. It's not bad at all.
Okay, it's not bad. I say, is he gonna want to punch me? Because
No.
Well, when does Jake not want to punch everybody that he's
He is
ever
an
come in contact
angry
with?
bald man. Yeah.
He is an angry bald
very
man.
I'd be mad if my hairline was that bad to where it just ran away from the rest of my face, too.
Yeah.
There's only a couple people I feel like I'm extra mean to, and Jake's one of them. Just because I know he can take it. Just because I know he can take it. Him and Drunk would get the worst comments. Everybody else would be nice to him.
Yeah, but Drunkwood sends us on Friday mornings. Our
We talk
podcast
about
drops
Stop,
on like
stop.
2 or
Paul, we talked about this. We're not talking about him anymore. I messed up. I apologize. We're not giving any more free press to Drunkwood. He said his sales have gone down because we didn't talk about him the last 2 episodes. So we're going to continue that. So he's going to have to stop making mediocre IKEA furniture and get a real job. So we just got to stop mentioning his name.
Okay, doesn't make furniture, but anyway. So I'm sorry.
He doesn't
Drunkwood,
make
that
furniture.
We get text messages every Friday morning between the times of 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. with him talking shit to Alex or me. It's a great time. Good times.
About our
He's our
podcast
number
that
one
week.
fan. He's our number one fan because he listens, because sometimes the text messages relate to something at the end of the podcast. And so we know as much hate as he sends us, he's listening to the whole thing. Bless his heart.
that's a loyal fan right there. And
I know. Yep. Yep. Anybody that listens to the whole of Bass and Bruce podcast is a loyal
Well,
Loyal.
listen, the thing with Drunkwood, it's a loyal fan, and I want to make sure we key in that word fan, because he's like not a colleague or a friend, he's a fan. So sometimes it gets to the weird side where like a fan oversteps, and we're like, you know, it kind of gets to like almost like a stalking or a just a very unhealthy relationship that he has with his idols, Paul and I. So it's, I mean, we're kind of at this point to where, like, I'm sorry, but I might have to distance myself from contacting him because I think he needs to get a reality check that he's never going to be at the stardom that we are. For the longest time, we were the #1 podcast in the Panama Canal. We have dropped to the #2 podcast in the Panama Canal because somebody else finally got a podcast there. But listen, like, we're internationally known. You can find out about our show at every men's bathroom. It's usually scribbled on the wall. And he's trying to elevate his game to our game. And I feel like if we continue how the relationship is he's going to think that he's going to get there. And I don't want him to get his hopes up because there's no way you can achieve the level of entertainment gold that Paul and I have.
Hey, speaking of Drunkwood, Kristine, did you make Hobie Worlds again this year?
I did. Hopefully there is a Hobie Worlds.
We're not even sure if Hobie Worlds is going to happen.
They just sold the company, right?
Yeah, they did. I've qualified for the net. He was there a couple years behind. I qualified for 3 of them. 3 for sure. So hoping
that you know, Jordan's been there, you've been there, Jordan's been on quite a few times, so we've followed y'all to that. That looks like some of the funnest fishing you could ever have. It just looks like a good ass time regardless of what happens catching fish.
Such a good time. Yeah, it's an honor to compete, you know, with all my favorite part is I'm a big fan of just meeting people from other countries, and I love their accents and their cultures, and I'm a huge foodie. So if I can get all different kinds of foods, meet different people, you know, I like that. It's a good thing. And the fishing's great too, you know.
Yeah. Good to go catch.
Well, as the kids would say, it sounds like you're in it for the vibes. See, look at me being hip, Paul.
Yeah, that was the moment right there for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
The kids don't say vibes anymore. It's like shinini na or.
Listen, you're being a real
Riz.
skibbity. You're being a
Riz.
real skibbity Ohio over there, Paul. I have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old, and if I have to see mewing or skibbity Ohio one more time, I'm gonna go out for milk and not come back for 10 years.
What?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what it means?
You go like this. You go.
What's that mean?
I have no idea. It's kind of what it means. It kind of is the kids' way of saying "shut the fuck up." I'm too cool. Like, don't even talk to me, kind of deal.
They go like they trace their jawline and then go.
Yeah. Well, and then they do like the shh with their fingers. So it's like only mega chads do it because they have a very defined jawline.
Oh, and Chad's like the kind of like
douchey dude.
Like
Chads
a frat.
and Brads.
Frat.
Yep. Chads and Brads.
Chads and Brad. And then what's the female? What's the girl version of that?
Karen's.
Well, Karen's isn't there? There's not a girl version of it.
No.
I don't know. Luckily,
listen,
my daughter just,
you're breaking barriers, Fisher. You can make the female version of Chad. Listen, there's Chads and Kristines.
No, we're not tarnishing my name like that. I don't want to do that. It'd be like Angela and
Angela.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you hear that? All the Angelas out there. Kristine Fischer says, "Fuck you." Quote
no,
it.
that's not what I said. I said that you're the Brads and Chads. Like, did you guys have an Angela in your high school that was really mean to you?
No, I had an Angela. She was not mean to me, but she was an Angela. If we can,
there you go.
That.
I did not, but my youngest, her name is Amelia, spelled with an E.
School.
Oh, Amelia's sweet. Name.
Thank you. But before that, for 6 months, she was going to be called Elizabeth. And then I totally forgot that there's this really mean girl in middle school whose name was Elizabeth. So I was like, nope, we got to change it. It had to start with E. That was kind of what we were going with. And I was like, Amelia, but with an E. We'll make it a thing. But yeah, it was almost Elizabeth. It's weird how sometimes those names can be ruined by one piece of shit kid.
Right, it sucks because like I know a lot of Angelos that are really great people, like a lot of them. But there's just when I think Angela, I'm just like
Yeah.
Chad.
Chad.
No, not like that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna see me do that in my videos now. I'm gonna look back. I'm gonna look right at you two. I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh,
That's how you get the kids.
No, wait, Kristine.
Yeah.
That's what you got to start doing on all the mean comments you get on your post. Is you got to start just recording a video reply, and all you do is.
You know what? I actually told Drunkwood this. I said that I'm going to hire him to be the moderator of my DMs.
That dude could make a fucking. He
One,
could be a millionaire.
No, you wouldn't have to hire him. He would do that shit for fun.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. But I think that I'd get canceled fast. Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Actually,
Well, it's funny.
Day when I want to go dark and just completely, I'm going to completely disappear one day off everything. But before I do that, I'm going to let him burn it down.
Look, you message us and let us know when that's going to happen, because I want to be a viewer of the burn down, because Drunkwood will do that.
What's funny is he would only be responding to his own comments. I'm pretty sure that guy had 78 Instagram accounts, and he just leaves nasty comments while he's taking his morning constitution. He's sitting there just logging on to new accounts to leave bad comments.
Yeah, that doesn't totally surprise me. I've been in his good graces for a little while, so he's been fairly sweet. But
yep, he's good for a laugh. Drunkwood's good for a laugh.
Yeah.
Wait, Kristine. So let's you mentioned some of the kayak tournaments that you're doing. If you have one person out of the national trails that you're gonna fish, and we might not know if they're gonna fish or not, but if they are fishing, right? This is all theoretical. If one person is fishing, let's say it's your last kayak tournament that you're gonna fish. Who is the person that you want to beat? You don't have to win first. You don't have to be in the top 10, but you want to beat that one person. Who would it be?
I'm not gonna say. Sorry, that was a little moment for myself, a little inside joke with myself. Don't mind. I'm gonna say, it's always great to beat Rus, but that happens so often now that I'm just.
Clip it.
No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
I'm trying to think like who. Honestly, so Ewing Minor. I've gotten really close with Ewing, and I have so much respect for him over the last couple of years. But we kind of have this thing where that kid's so good. I mean, he is like a little mini Rus on steroids. I think it would have to be him, because I always
can't be a mini Rus. He can't.
I know.
You don't get minier than Rus. Rus is
true.
about
Okay.
as many as they come.
Let's say can we say younger Rus?
Yes, that works better.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. My bad on that one, but I'm gonna say Ewing, because there's just something when you beat Ewing's more consistent, I think, than Rus, and I think Rus would agree with that. And he's always usually up there, in the top. He's won a lot of tournaments. He's also been back-to-back Angler of the Year. And there's something about beating like one of the kids,
Yeah.
extra good.
You could mew on him. You could just give him the skibbity toilet when you whoop his ass.
That's right. So I think I would definitely have to pick Ewing, but because I love Ewing. I always feel good when I can. The few times I get to one up him on a tournament, I'm always like, yes.
Well, Alex,
all right.
I think we're ready to get to the point of the podcast that the reason that people listen this far into the chicanery.
You mean other than the Mary Fornicate Kill?
Oh, that was just an appetizer. Yeah. Oh, wow. All right. So before we get there, Kristine, because you are, listen, the Brewskis, that's what we like to call the listeners. They are a wonderful, welcoming bunch. But if there's anything they're going to get upset about, it's this next part. So before we get there, if you'd like to shout out anybody, any thanks you'd like to give, where people can find you, now's your time.
Well, I don't want any more people to find me because, again, I'm not just want that.
Best answer ever. I don't want anybody to find me.
Yeah, I'm good. It's where I'm at. Just kind of fly under the radar as much as I can.
All right.
Yeah, the people who I want to thank, though. Of course, I've got the great sponsors, friends, family, and all that. But I always thank them whenever I'm on a podcast. I just want to thank you guys, the people that do the podcast, because it can be a really thankless job. And I know you guys obviously have a lot of fun with it, probably too much fun, but it is work. And you take times out of your schedules to do this every single week or every other week. And it's a lot of time. It's commitment. And you guys basically take time out of your day to give us a platform. And it's really appreciated. So thank you guys.
Well, thank you. We have had in the little over 3.5 years, we've had 1 week. We release every week. We've had 1 week where we did not record a podcast in
commitment.
3.5 years.
Yep.
And again, we referenced it earlier. We reference it in podcasts all the times. We don't have sponsors. We don't get paid for this shit. It costs Alex and I. This is the first time I can say this. It costs Alex and I money.
Yeah.
Or me, Alex and me money to do it. But again, it kind of goes back to what I said before about being able to meet people. Like, we enjoy doing this. We love meeting new people. We love talking fishing. We love getting that journey and that story of where you are today. Yeah. And Alex and I talk all the time about we will do it regardless if one person listens or if 5,000 listen, because we enjoy it and we get to meet people that are in the fishing world and we get to learn something.
Well, as you mentioned before, I'm going to contradict all of that. I like talking about Bigfoot and poop, so I'll keep doing it as long as I can talk about Bigfoot and poop. All right, you ready, Kristine?
Ready.
It's time. Boys and girls, let's see how far down the rabbit hole we can go today. Woo! It only takes one.
All right, we are going to hit the patent pending Bass and Bruce shotgun round. We are going to ask you a rapid fire set of questions. All we need for you to do is to answer them. None of this wishy-washy stuff. We just need you to answer. And you don't have to go deep explanation unless we kind of ask. But it's super important that you're ready for it, because this is going to take you down to the darkest waters or to the highest highs to become a serious angler.
Images associated with this?
Are there what? Say that again.
Are there any images associated?
No images.
Who are the young college girls going to sleep with?
Yeah, that's the only thing that'll be on there. All right, are you ready?
No more images. Alex, don't play another fucking image. Or I'm going to, April 11th, I'm going to kick you in the knee. I'm going to have to lay down on my stomach to do it, but I'll do it.
He still hasn't realized I changed his name to Big Fat Guy. I love it. All right, Kristine, are you going to spend more on a rod or a reel?
Reel.
Perfect. Is it Crocs or is it flops?
Flops.
See, that's such a weird.
You're weird.
I am weird. I embrace my weirdness. As a matter of fact, we have fuck you, both of y'all. This is the second time, Kristine. This is like the 5th time. You know what? See, this is why you're in a boat. Because when you try to load your kayak up and shit, and you're in flip-flops, and your feet are slipping out of them, your flops are floating down the river.
I don't wear shoes ever. I do myself barefoot.
Yeah.
I love
but she answered the question. Quit. Yeah. Paul, stop. I'm on Kristine's side.
I have been fishing in 19-degree weather with no shoes on.
Hey, we're going to announce it here. Kristine just sent me a text. It's official. Paul got fired. She's the new co-host. So this will be Paul's last show. Kristine, you're on your way to the water. Is it hype music or is it slow jams?
Hype music.
And what does hype music mean to you? Like what's your hype music?
Not Brooks and Dunn.
Yes, yes, we got. She remembered. Yes.
But what's hype music for you? What's the get you going song right now?
There's not a song. It's eclectic. I don't. It's yeah.
What's the
All right.
genre?
There's a lot of genres. I have a playlist and it's like 8 different genres. It could be blue.
Oh.
It could be some like blues and funk. It can be a little bit of. I'm not a like maybe 90s rap, but I don't like new age rap.
Okay.
I like some old school stuff, but I really like, I don't know, just all kinds of stuff. Like I have a playlist.
Well, I got a recommendation right now. My favorite get hype song is Pink Pony Club, and as a 40-year-old man, nothing gets me more excited than Chapel Roan Pink Pony Club. It is peak.
What's Chapel Roan?
That's the name of the artist.
What genre is that?
Pop. You should when we get done with the show, go on Spotify. It is it's the stupidest song. It's it'll get you going. Pink Pony Club. I don't want to get copyright. I know it sounded exactly like her.
Yeah, she smoked Marlboro Reds for 20 years.
All right, you're gonna go do 7 hours of fishing. Would you rather catch 5 2-pounders or 1 7-pounder?
That 1 7-pounder, easy.
I knew that. I knew that.
Yeah.
If you would have said 5 2-pounders, I would have left this podcast forever and never come back.
Well,
Can
that's
we redo the question?
yeah. I mean, that's already happening. She's the new co-host. We already talked about it.
5 2-pounders.
Yeah, nope, too late. You've already answered.
Listen, she already bought the show at the very beginning. An hour and a half ago, as of an hour and a half ago, she's the new president of Bats and Brews, and also the president of KBN. All right, we're going to go on to some food-related questions because Paul's, as his title says, he's a big fat guy. Do you eat largemouth bass?
Present day? Or would I? That's a weird question.
Do you?
Like present day, do you eat largemouth?
Not on a regular basis.
Okay.
But you catch 3 or 4 14 inchers, and you're like, I'm kind of hungry tonight. You gonna deep fry them up and eat them?
I'm not gonna deep fry them up and eat them, but I will make someone do that, and then I will eat them. Yes.
Boom. I love
Okay.
it. I love it. Hey, come down here. We're in the land of biggins here in the Raleigh area.
Yeah.
We'll catch 7-pounders during the spawn.
No, we don't want to do that.
We'll deep fry the eggs, and we'll fillet out them 7-pounders. They'll be delicious.
And I've got an exciting offer for our listeners still. I was able to extend the deal. So if you head to your local Circle K, go around back, find a guy named Jamie, spelled with a Y and a Z. He will sell you a whole pound of 12-pound largemouth bass caviar, we like to call it. Just use code BAB, and he won't stab you. So that is what we can offer at this show.
All right, I've been holding on to this from what Kristine
Was it a
said
fart?
really early in the podcast. You used to eat smallmouth bass when y'all were walleye fishing.
Yeah, we did.
And
Thanks
and
for
was
destroying the
because
fishery.
Y'all thought that they were taking out the walleye.
Well, I said, but yeah, Papa thought that they really did believe that the walleye or the smallmouth would eat the walleye fry. And the little
They
walleye.
probably do. I mean, he's probably right.
I know, but
Yeah.
Were they
Well.
delicious, Kristine? Was that
Mhm.
smallmouth delicious?
it was so good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Listen,
It's so good. Yeah.
I can't be held responsible. Every guest that says that they eat smallmouth, Seth Fighter actually shows up to your house 1 week later and open hand slaps you. So I can't be held responsible for that. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Absolutely. Yes.
That's such a
Yes.
Nebraska thing to say.
So what? I live in New Jersey, and pineapple on pizza is fucking delicious.
It's the best thing that there ever was.
Yeah, but you're
Yep.
from Washington.
Game changer,
That's true.
take dollops of cream cheese and put it with the pineapple pizza and then bake it. You're welcome. Another $1 million idea. That's racking up that tab there, fellas.
That's listen,
fuck are you
that
so
that
skinny?
was gross.
How are you so skinny? Like, if
Math.
I ate that, Kristine, I'd gain 25 pounds tomorrow.
Oh, I contracted a tapeworm a long time ago in somewhere on my travels.
Hey,
think I'm
can
joking.
you share some of that? I'd love.
Did
to
you
stand on the
just
front of
keep
my
it?
kayak.
Did you name the tapeworm? Is it just still chilling with you?
Leo. It's gotta be.
Leo the tapeworm.
I love it.
Oh man. Jesus, Paul. Kristine, do you eat beaver?
I'm sorry. What? What do you mean?
What do you like? Do you eat beaver?
The silence is getting really uncomfortable.
No, like what are you talking about?
This question arose from the episode with Tiffany because she's in Texas, I'm in the Carolinas, and we like beaver's good eating. And I thought her being in Texas, where she was, kind of East Texas, there's a lot of beaver. And so we asked it, and we started asking it to everybody, and some people do, some people don't. But it's delicious. It's like
Can you describe it to me?
It is the furry animal.
I'm not talking about the beaver. I'm talking about the tape.
Oh, shit. Well, damn, you said, can you describe it? I mean, I thought I'd need to start from the beginning.
Please,
Not the
for the love of God, don't show me a picture of it.
She shouldn't have said it. She shouldn't have said it.
Look,
Don't.
I described it, I think a couple episodes ago or last episode, I can't remember. It's if you've ever smoked a chuck roast and pulled it like you would a Boston butt.
Mm-hmm.
Beaver's it's kind of in the middle. It's a very luscious, fatty meat, little gamey, but you just take the beaver and you put the whole thing on there like you would a pig, and you smoke it until it's pull apart tender. Put some barbecue sauce on it, and you have some beaver
I don't
sandwiches.
understand what the pause was for, though. It was a pretty obvious question. I'm still confused on the pause from Kristine.
You know, I guess the question, it just caught me off guard a little bit, and I wasn't expecting it. I should be caught up.
Known better.
I mean, you've done so many podcasts before. I don't know how this hasn't come up.
Well, I mean, you've been here you've been here an hour and 40 minutes, so I don't know why anything is a surprise at this point.
Right. I'm going to go ahead. No, I do not eat beaver.
All right.
Well, being from Nebraska, though, I'm not sure how many y'all have there. So, but you're in Tennessee now, and there's a ton of beaver in Tennessee. You get some big ones out there.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm going to have to go forage for one and give it a shot.
22, right between the eyes.
I got one of those. Okay.
You probably shoot it with a bow.
I would, actually.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I'm saying. You probably be better off shooting it with a bow.
How do we make that a video? Kristine.
Shoot the beaver.
Right before I want to get canceled, we'll make sure we do that.
That's what you do. You shoot a beaver and you smoke it, and then you get drunk wood to run your comments.
It's titled "Come Catch Some Beaver with Kristine."
Please don't let anyone illustrate the thumbnail picture for that.
It would be from bass to beaver.
No, we don't.
I thought that one was good. All right, hey, every great angler loves a sandwich. What are your top 3 sandwich proteins?
Oh, just the protein, not the sandwich.
Yep.
I'm gonna say a ribeye.
Yes.
That's fancy. Hell yeah.
And a bacon wrapped ribeye.
All right.
Hold on. Do what? That was only 2.
No, it wasn't.
I heard ribeye, bacon wrap ribeye.
No, ribeye, bacon wrap ribeye.
Is that acceptable, Alex?
Of course it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Figure out your counting. Kristine, it's been great hanging out for a minute. Hey,
Hello.
all you listeners, have a great week. Maybe not a great week, just the week you deserve. So maybe try not to be assholes to each other. We'll see you guys on the next one. That's it.